With a show of hands, how many of you have ever felt or feel that history is boring? Yeah. How many feel that history as a subject should not be there in school? More hands. How many of you feel that learning history or getting A grades in history is not going to get you a good job anywhere? Well, how about a flip side? How about listening to, you made me fall in love with history, or I never knew history could be so interesting. Could you please come and teach us more subjects like this? Well, that's what we hear when we take our experiences to schools. How do we make history engaging? Can we make history engaging? Yes, we can. What would excite you? A picture of your favorite book or the book itself? Your favorite dish or the picture of the dish? Or a paragraph or a story of the place, or going to the place or visiting the place itself? I guess it's the latter for all of us, most of us rather. That's what inspired us at REDT to create experiences from historical events. How do we make it real? How do we make it relevant to the audience, which are our school students? We started with our first project, which is called World War I and India's impact or contribution in it. What happens when you give students a historical letter, a few pages from a gazetteer, a field trip, and a map? What is the result? An excitement and joy on the faces of the children, of the students, as they go becoming little detectives, looking for clues, searching for answers, figuring out how did this happen, how did this take place, what caused this. This led to a lot of questions, lot of adventure, lot of stories, lot of insights, and a lot of interesting facts. Facts like the Bangalore torpedo. Show of hands, how many of you have heard about Bangalore torpedo or know what Bangalore torpedo is? Like expected, hardly, nobody. Bangalore torpedo is a weapon which is created in our own city, Bangalore, and is used extensively for cutting barbed wires, initially for the World War I, but it's used till date by not just the Indian military, but many militaries across the world. And it's made in Bangalore. Another fun fact about this, a lot of the movies you see on war have this featured in them. This is a clipping from Saving Private Ryan, directed by Steven Spielberg, featuring Tom Hanks. Do have a look at it. A lot of stories came out of this, and students came up to us and said, we did not know that India, especially Bangalore, contributed so much to the World War. Giving or making history, giving history a local or a current context, connecting it with current times, makes history relevant and reachable. A lot of us have seen this monument. We pass through it a lot of the times when we are on Brigade Road. This is the Pioneer Corps Memorial at the end of Brigade Road. But how many of us know that this is dedicated to the World War I soldiers? 3 out of the 11 monuments which we got from our research were in schools. And the students of the schools did not know that they had a connection with the World War. Many such interesting facts emerged from the research. I would like to take you to the next project, which was on partition, undivided identities, lesser known stories of partition, where we were able to connect with the students, connecting the uncertainties of the pandemic, because that's what it just had set in, with the uncertainty and the chaos which the partition survivors had gone through. And the students were able to relate something which was just otherwise would have just been text in their history books. They also interviewed adults in their community, and they just not learned about the experiences and the stories, but also got to learn soft skills like listening and how to conduct oral history interviews. Another example is when we took a workshop which looked at identity and belonging and what it meant to students. Many biases emerged. Many perspectives came by. Many insights were gained. One such insight from a student was, I did not know that people on the other side of the border also experienced and suffer as much. I did not know that they equally pained. I always saw them versus us and we as the victims. But the workshop made me realize that both were equally responsible for the crimes committed. Both suffered. And both have a shared history until 1947. History suddenly became relevant. The student went on to say that during the workshop, looking at different sources and of information and gathering different perspectives, something which helped her, and she will take it back to life and apply it there. History becomes relevant. I would like to quote John Dewey when he said that to learn better, you need to be immersed and interact and engage with the environment you are in. Now, I'm not saying that we create wars and create partition. No, that's not what I mean. What I meant, and what John Dewey also meant, is we learn by doing things. And if classrooms and if teachers, if we can have activities and games which are connected to understanding the cause and effect, not only helps students understand the interconnected between events and the consequences of their choices, but also helps them apply it in their real life. History suddenly becomes relatable. Museums are spaces where one can learn from objects. Historical sites and memorials are places of reflection. Both these places are spaces for community and collective memory. A lot of the times we have corporates hiring people to create cultural awareness and inclusivity among their employees. Visits to museum help do the same. Creating or making context or content engaging and interactive, be it one of the first exhibitions which we did. It's a traveling exhibition which created a simulation of trenches, because it was World War I, with sound and battlefield sound, smoke, undulated grounds, or be it a second project which was a choice-based narrative where you become the partition survivor and you have to make choices. And sometimes these choices are very difficult, but you have to make these choices to move forward. And that makes learning engaging. I would like to end by saying that we understand better when we feel with our senses, when all our senses are involved. Imagine reading about Lucknow sitting in Bangalore versus going and experiencing and reading it there in the place itself. You're seeing sights, you're listening to sounds, you're taking in and absorbing the smells of the city, the hustle bustle, the vibe. All that helps you to absorb, helps you to feel the place. When you feel something, you connect with it. When you connect, you understand. And when you understand, you learn. So, can history be felt and not read? Can we use history to create empathy? Can we use history to create many narratives, many stories, many perspectives versus one singular narrative? Can history be made relevant and relatable so that we all are inspired by it? Thank you.